Wow. I'm not sure I can do 20 years of history, but I'll try my best. So it took me 18 years to actually find my autoantibody, and I'll tell you how I did that actually. When I was diagnosed in Singapore in 2006, I would say the majority of my symptoms came on pretty hard and fast in the last 4 to 6 weeks before my actual diagnosis. But if I think back, I probably had the very first symptom about 6 months before I actually was told that I had PM. And this was really because I noticed some weakness, and I had been a very ultra fit person. I did long distance running. I did a lot of rock climbing, scuba diving. I was living in Malaysia at that time, and you can imagine, very active outdoors. Um, I did move to Singapore shortly before my diagnosis, about 2 months before. And I was practicing, so I'm an oral surgeon by training, and I was practicing in one of the clinics of a big hospital group. My clinic was on the third floor of that medical center. I never felt any trouble at all. In fact, it was just very normal for me to walk up the 3 floors, even if I was wearing heels. Um, and I started to notice I took the lift. And it really hit me one day, why are you taking the lift? And I noticed also that I couldn't run after a bus, or it just felt like it was really strange to be walking fast as I would normally do. I had difficulty changing my clothes. I noticed I was buckling my bra in front and then spinning it around, which was kind of strange. And then the final thing that took me to the hospital was really inability to take my own legs out of a car. Um, I could drive the car, but for some reason I opened the door and my brain was telling my body, legs go out as you do. Nothing happened. Thankfully, I was with a friend and we went to the hospital immediately. And after about a week of tests, and this was already early December of that year in 2006. And I had bloods, I had lots of imaging. I had a sectional biopsy taken out of my leg, so about a 2-inch block of muscle. And I was awake for that. I wouldn't recommend that. And the diagnosis really came. We knew that it could be one of three things, but it was very much likely to be PM. I was sent home on oral tablets, so steroids, and a drug called methotrexate, which is commonly used in patients with rheumatic conditions. But I continued to deteriorate despite being medicated. And at that time in Singapore, I had moved back with my parents as well. And on Christmas morning that year, I literally could not get myself out of bed. I couldn't turn, I couldn't pull myself. I had to yell to someone in the house, please come and get me because I'm stuck. So this prompted me to go back to the hospital after 3 weeks of being at home and not getting better. And when I returned to the hospital, I actually went to a different hospital. So I went to the university hospital for the first time. And during the 3 weeks that I was at home and resting, I did a little bit more research, and I found that the city hospital, or Tan Tock Seng Hospital in Singapore, actually had physicians who had some experience in looking after myositis patients. Immediately, I was taken in to the ward. I was given, strong IV steroids. I was also, told at that time that they were not sure, if I could ever walk again. I think that was pretty scary. I was wheelchair bound. I was bed bound. I needed, to function in some way in the hospital to be able to take in what was being told to me. And I stayed in that hospital from Boxing Day 2006 till 2007, April the 15th, before I actually discharged myself. Actually, I requested to be let out. And it was important for me because I realized in the hospital I wasn't able to do the things that I needed to do by myself in my own natural surroundings, so the little things that you do at home that you may not think it's a big deal, like going to the toilet, showering yourself, taking care of your own meals. I wanted to go home to force myself to do those things so that I could return to a normal state faster. Um, I had also the chance to hire a helper. So in Singapore, it was much more convenient in that way that you could hire a helper from one of the regional countries. And we trained this person to help to transfer me from the bed to the wheelchair to the toilet. I even returned to work shortly after in May. I did say to my manager at that time, I would like to come back and do something. I'm going crazy here. And because it was a big hospital group, I could go back and do a desk job, essentially looking after some restructuring projects for the clinic. So I started my career pivot working in this hospital group.